magic on the track, boys.
We've made it.
Hola, everyone.
It's just like, hi, welcome to the most calmest edition of Los Lobos ever.
I know, right?
I'm not gonna lie, internet, it has been a very long day. You know, some of us are on winter break. Some of us have to survive the next 48 hours to get there. But we are still going to give you our best college try here at BC WrestlePod as Los Lobos de la Lucha are back for another episode of CMLL goodness. I am El Jefe of BC WrestlePod. Of course, joining me tonight is, you know, my spicy tuna melt of a partner, Papa Oso himself. I made myself hungry again, darn it. Anywho. So the two of us are going to be here tonight to review another exciting episode of Viernes for Espectacular. Unfortunately, we are missing our third compadre, Adolfo, and he sends his regards, and we're wishing him, you know, as he takes this time off, you know, rest and R&R, and he will hopefully be back in the, you know, 2026. So, of course, we also have our unofficial co-host in the chat. Agent Lo-Fi Primo is in the building, so the three of us are going to be holding it down this evening as we talk about some CMLL goodness. So I'm excited for all of that. Before we get into the, you know, post-show breakdown proper, really quickly, if you are new to BC WrestlePod, you can dig through our archives on the Twitch, on the Kick, and the YouTube. And if you like what you see, then you can subscribe and follow us. But if you're looking for something a little bit more bite-sized and manageable for your time, you can pick whatever social media site you use the most, Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky, whatever that is. And you can follow us on the socials at BC WrestlePod, where you can find our report cards, previews for the weekly shows, predictions, and so much more. If you want to explore a little bit further, we have some merch for you at our, you know, merch store, bcwrestlepodshop.fourthwall.com. Well, you know, where you have all sorts of fun designs. We have our holiday shirt, which will be going away in a couple of days after the holidays, and all our designs will be revamped come the new year, so get them while they're hot. Of course, we also have our little coffee bot if you want to buy us a coffee and donate to help us keep the metaphorical lights on and help buy these pay-per-views sometimes, because pay-per-views are expensive. And this is we are not paid. We do this because we love professional wrestling, but we got bills to pay and we got things to make sure that this channel has in order for us to thrive. So if you feel inclined to donate to the cause, you can click the link in the chat every couple of minutes, and we'll go from there. And yes, that is very sweet of you, Primo, wishing Adolfo a happy holidays from you. So, and shout out to everybody, whether you celebrate Christmas, Yule, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, all the winter holidays that are happening around the world. From us here at BC WrestlePod, we wish very happy holidays to all of you. All right, now that I got that out of the way, let's get into it, because we're going to talk about the semi-main event, because I was just like, on paper we had 5 matches. It really was more like 10. So let's just get into it. So we kick things off this week with I'm noticing a pattern, CMLL, and I'm not mad at it. We started this past Viernes Espectacular with a match relampago. So 10 minutes or less to tap, submit your opponent. And this time we had Fury Boy taking on a new face to me here on Viernes Espectacular and Camelot. I was just like, I see what we're doing. I was like, please tell me that him and Templario could be a thing. I was just like, literally, we also have the dragons too, the Los Dragones as well. I was just like, we are just one squire away from a whole medieval faction, and I'm here for it.
Indeed.
So of course, like I said, this is a match relampago, 10-minute time limit, and they have 10 minutes to pin or submit their opponent. Otherwise, they will end in a time limit draw. Ooh, excuse me. It's been a long day, but I am here, as All Might from My Hero Academia would say. As far as the match goes for itself, I thought this is pretty solid opener. Again, I am new to Camelot. I mean, he might have popped up on the other shows that CMLL runs throughout the week. I will say that I watch a lot of wrestling, and I have to try to find more time for it. But I'm pretty sure I've also agree with you, Primo. I'm pretty sure we've seen Fury Boy a little bit this year. But no, props to Camelot. One heck of a base, in this match too. I was just like, good power wrestling. I thought this was a pretty solid bout. I'm not gonna lie. Papa, also, what did you think of our opening match?
I thought it was all right. I thought it was pretty good too. And I think I really like these relampago matches because it introduces me to new people that I've never seen wrestle. And I know there are people that have been watching, that watch a lot of either CMLL or AAA and all those. They know a lot of these sort of luchas from here, there, and everywhere. But I don't know many of them. So, and Fury Boy I'm familiar with because I think I've seen him once before in one of ours normal ones, or maybe it was maybe one of the anniversary shows or something. But I do love that this introduces me to new people, and I love getting to see new luchas, new to me anyway, and what they can do. And so this was a fun one for me. I really enjoyed to watch these guys. So I'm interested to see if we see Camelot more, because I kind of liked him.
I do too. And, Primo does bring up a good fact, too, that these are both last year's Escuela guys, too. So, again, more Escuela folks opening up the show that we've seen. And they're all kind of fighting for spots at the moment, too, as we're right around the corner. Yep, because come January, we're getting into the next year's, Torneo de Escuelas as well. So, you got to fight for them spots, man, because spots are limited. So, it's crazy out here. So, Fury Boy does end up picking up the win here in this match, but I agree with you, Papa. It's really nice to see newer folks being introduced to us through these Relampago matches, because then it requires them to use the time that they are given in the 10-minute time limit to showcase what they can do.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a really solid bout. I really, really enjoyed this
Agreed.
one. So, moving on into our next one.
Yay.
Honestly, I was just like, yo, we love us some good trios matches here in CMLL. So, of course, in our second match, this is a Relevo Australiano, a dos de tres caídas, so 2 out of 3 falls. This saw the team of Valiente Jr., Fugas, and El Adas taking on, our favorite lovable Japanese grandpa, Okumura, Infarto, and looking like he's always wearing a bike helmet to me in this picture, Hijo de Stuco Jr. I cannot get over Hijo de Stuco Jr.'s mask. I was just like, it looked like the snakes on where his eyebrows are on the mask look like he took like the Cholita, like draw Sharpie eyebrows. And he looks like he's wearing a bike helmet.
It does. It totally does.
Like, I can't. Every time I can't, but I have such a good time with this.
Funny.
So, of course, like I mentioned before, this is your typical Relevo Australiano match. So, in order to win, you have to get 2 out of the 3 falls. And I love you. Listen, it has been a year here for us at Los Lobos de la Lucha, and we have seen a lot of these folks in different. On paper, I was like, this should be pretty good. By the end of this match, I was like, I feel like some people were very solid. Some people were having a little struggle trying to keep up, in my personal opinion. And look at that, Agent Lo-Fi, who brought up the same point. Nothing against these guys, but this was Fugas and Adas trying to keep up with Valiente Jr. He's just been on a run lately, which I have to agree. So again, on paper, I was like, ooh, this should be fun. By the end of it, I was like, this is a pretty solid match, but I feel like some people were like a tempo behind in certain aspects of it, which is a bummer, because I was like, it wasn't bad, but I was like, pacing was awful just a tiny bit.
Yeah, I agree. It did feel like some folks were sort of tertiary. They're like, oh, we're physically here, and that's really all you need. And I have to agree, Valiente Jr. But I think that's sort of like, I think at least in what I have observed with Valiente Jr., that's him all the time though.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, and it's very much like, if you look at it from like, I'm going to compare it to like a theatrical type thing, is when you, as an actor, I always tell my actors, it's like, you have to, no matter how big your role is, you always have to believe that your character is the most important character in the play. And so you always have to be a leading role, no matter who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is Valiente Jr. And his 2 compadres were sort of like, oh, well, yeah, but we're just going to hang back. It's like, I'm okay being a chorus boy, it's like that sort of thing. And I was like, well, okay, that's cool. But, you got to remember, you got to believe that you're the star, man. Both of you guys. And so I give kudos to Valiente Jr. And then I would be like, look here, you two. I need you to be more like Valiente Jr. in the aspect of his go get it and his like starring role. I mean, because he truly believes that he is the lead when he walks onto that stage. And that's what you need. And
you know what, to kind of go off of that, Primo is kind of agreeing with you here in terms of Valiente Jr. that Primo would not be opposed to Valiente getting pushed into that like Máscara Dorada or Neon level. He's right there if he stays this good, which is, true. And it goes to what you were saying. Even though this is Lucha Libre, it's still, a performance, and, you have to go out on the stage. Yes, it's about working together with the people who are on stage with you, but and I say this all the time, it doesn't even have to be in the world of theater. This is what me and our other co-host JT, who we love dearly here too, you know, it's the same thing when it comes to music and, you know, producers and DJs. It was just like, yeah, I want to collab with us. And me and JT like loved listening to music and making music together. But at the same time, we also know it's just like, oh, I want my stuff to be played before this band's is. So it's just like you have to go into that mindset of, I have qualities that make me stand out. I'm here to work with everyone, but also you're kind of doing a disservice to yourself if you're not trying to also get yourself noticed in the process. You don't got to be a tool about it because there are wrong ways to go about it, but you have to bring it every single time because consistency is what's going to get you noticed. And so you got to go out there and you need to showcase 110% of everything you got when you go out there. So yeah, so I like that comparison, Papa. That was really good. I like that. So, but as far as this match goes, the team of Valiente Jr., Fugas, and El Adwas do pick up the victory here. And we go straight into our second Relampago match of the evening, this time with some Amazonas action. And we get, you know, Tessa Blanchard coming back down to Arena Mexico. Because again, TNA has done all their tapings already, like last week. So the rest of the time, everybody can go wherever they want to. And Tessa is taking on our homegirl, Zuxis, who is also in here for this match. So I want to start off with some positives, right? I love that Will knows how this is gonna go for my statements when I start off with this. We've been doing this for long enough where he noticed this. I want to start off with the positives. I love me some Miss Zuxis. Zuxis is fantastic. I have missed her, and I'm glad that she's been back from injury for the last couple of months. Tessa, really happy to also see her because, you know, we didn't know how extensive her injury was because she wasn't cleared to compete at she competed at Final Resolution, but we weren't sure how far along she was to compete at the pay-per-view before, which I'm trying to remember I'm trying to remember what was before Final Resolution, but it was Turning Point. So it has been a lot of pay-per-views jam-packed in the last month. It's crazy. So Tessa wasn't cleared for Turning Point, and then she wasn't cleared for the taping afterwards, but then she and Victoria competed at Final Resolution. So I'm happy to see that the injury's not as crazy, because despite personal feelings about certain behaviors, I don't want anyone to, you know, be completely hurt where they lose their job, so to speak. So having said that about both those two, I was kind of a little disappointed. And I don't know if maybe my expectations were too high, but I felt like, let me put it this way. There were parts of this match where we got so close. So it's like, oh, they're about to hit that chemistry, but it just barely misses. And for me, I was just like, it wasn't bad. It was better than the last time I saw these two go at it. But there is still just something not connecting for me between these two. I thought this was okay.
Yeah. I didn't enjoy this match as much as I thought I might. And I think it's because of the energy in the ring was weird.
Mm.
And I don't know if that's because of, you know, or they were just having an off night. You know, I don't know what it was, but for both of them, wasn't just one or the other, both of them. To me, it just felt they were kind of just off. Like from their entrance into the ring, I was just like, something feels weird here. I don't know what it is. And
hot take, Tessa has never really clicked in CMLL. Her only great match was with Vaquer, and that could have been a carry for all I know. Honestly, well, yeah, let's be real. Stephanie Vaquer, despite my issue, I mean, if you pay attention to our WWE review, you know I love me some Miss Stephanie Vaquer, and I've been a fan of her since Japan and Mexico and all that stuff. Despite how I feel how she's being booked as champion in WWE main roster right now, it's Stephanie Vaquer. She's great. She's amazing. But I was about to say something, but then I would get us in trouble.
There. Well, all I know is the energy felt weird. And I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if that was because of, you know.
You're doing mine one of these. You're just like,
this. I don't know if it was because of that, and I mean, honestly, if you think about it, as a human being, if you're put in a room with another human being who has done some questionable things, the energy in that room is weird. And I don't know if part of this was that, because honestly and truly, if it were me on the other side of that, I would probably be a little off. Because, and unfortunately, in this grand world that we live in, guilt by association is a huge thing. And so when you, even in this sort of innocuously innocent type of thing, because, yeah, and I agree, Lo-Fi, I get it, and it's like a thing, and which is great. And I think it's great too, because I'm thinking, well, nobody gives a shit, so woohoo, but something felt weird, and I don't know what it was. All I know is it felt weird. And whether it's that, and maybe it's just her, Tessa just doesn't click with this company, and maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's what was throwing the energy off. I don't know. But this was kind of disappointing.
It's really tough. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I was just going to say, I felt like Zeuxis was kind of wasted in this match.
I think it's really tough too, because like we learned from Primo in the last couple of weeks too, a lot of our CMLL girls are about to head on over to Japan for a little bit. Like Olympia is going to be there for a while. Or in the case of La Catalina, get eye surgery, come fight, and then have to go get another one because you get knocked out. I was just like, girl, I love you, Catalina. I love you dearly. But that was, yeah, anyways. I mean, I think this one is tough because I feel like, and this could be a whole different thing too. It's really, really tough for me because I think Zeuxis is fantastic. We have missed her since she got injured at Grand Slam Mexico. She's been back for about a month and a half, 2 months now. And she kind of stepped right back into where she left off. I was like, oh, yeah, this is great. Tessa, on the other hand, and again, Primo, you're absolutely right. Like, the Mexico crowd probably doesn't care too much about the optics of, the problematic stuff that people come into the doors with in terms of the lucha. But yeah, there's something about Tessa, not just here, but I also have said this in TNA too. There's just something about her that doesn't click in terms of like her wrestling style and things like that. It just felt very off. But I mean, all to say, Tessa does pick up the victory here. And I was just like, Tessa, I want you to be good. I want this to be fun. Yeah. But I was just like, this was just okay. I was just like, ugh. I was just like, I want you to be more than just you tied to your man. I'm just saying. I was just like, don't get me wrong. Esfinge is, but at the same time, you are very lucky. But at the same time, I'm like, girl, we got to figure, something's got to give. I was just like, something's got to give. So, all right, let's move on because, I want you to, I'm just going to give you a moment to just look at this slide real quick. CMLL, this was a lot, and I loved it, but this was a lot. So, in the semi-main event, these were the elimination matches for the 2025 CMLL La Gran Alternativa, tournament. And this is how it went down. So I gotta explain everything before we even break this down, because first of all, we had like a cybernetico where everybody was in, and like we had representatives, and then we broke it down into teams, and then we whittled it all the way down until we got to our final two. Before I get into this further, Primo brings up a point. For perspective, why should Lucha Libre fans give two hoots about US dirt sheets? If that makes sense, why you should see certain people show up. And actually, that's a fair opponent. I think it is different optics around the world, and I think the more that I've watched, all the other promotions around the world, I've come to understand that. Because again, I personally want to broaden my horizons. I don't want to be just limited to what I see here in the States. However, yeah, it's very true because the way the cultures and people perceive things around the world is completely to the culture and the optics here in the United States. Alrighty, but let's talk about this because this was a lot. I was just like, oh God, we have so much to talk about. So there was so many things happening. So, okay, so I'm going to break this down. So I'm not going to go into a particular order because in all honesty, what really matters is who we have in our final two going into this Friday in terms of the finals of the Gran Alternativa. But I want to break this down really quickly because there was a lot of matches. A lot. So let's break this down, shall we? So we're going to start on the left side of the bracket. So on the left side of the bracket, at the very top corner, we have the team of Templario and Hijo del Pantera taking on Atlantis Jr. and Shelhua. I actually really love all the teams that we had in this whole thing because these are different combos of people, and I actually really enjoyed it. So, starting on the left side of the bracket, to narrow it down to who represents the final part of the left side of the bracket, we had Templario and Hijo del Bandera versus Atlantis Jr. and Shelhua. Shelhua and Atlantis Jr. defeat them. Then we had Euforia and Galero defeat Averno and Barbosa. So these two teams collided, and Atlantis Jr. and Shelhua beat Euforia and Galero to make it to the finals for next week on the left side of the bracket. This is a lot. This was fun, but this was a lot because it was like, all right, guys, we have so many. Yeah. I mean, you know what? Yeah, to be fair, I guess the general review is that this is an absolutely fantastic appetizer what CMLL offers talent-wise. If you came for a meal here, though, you'll have to wait, which I understand. I enjoyed it for what it was because, again, I was just like, this is a lot of like micro matches happening at the same time. I was just like, this, yeah.
I see this more as a charcuterie board.
A charcuterie board.
There was little bits and nibbly bits and different tastes and some fruits over here and some cheeses and crackers and meats and which I enjoyed. I really did enjoy it because, and like you said earlier, it was a mixed. We had mixed teams that we had not necessarily seen before, and that was really cool to watch. I wasn't very happy that Templario did not make it out of that first round, but that's okay. Okay.
I appreciate it though, because this is also like a little bit of a shocker too. So going on the right side of the bracket though, because talking about shockers, right? So in the first round, we had Esfinge and Futuro defeat Titan and Explosivo. And then we also had probably my new favorite team right now, Angel de Oro and Utani defeat Volador Jr. and El Elemental, which means that Esfinge, Futuro, Angel de Oro, and Utani would meet in the semis. And then I'm biased because I am the newest Utani stand, but Angel and Utani win. So now we have our final two teams that are going to be facing off against each other this Friday. So it is Atlantis Jr. and Shelhua versus Angel de Oro and Utani. I agree with you, Primo. It's just nice to see who's getting a little push. Utani, Shelhua are great picks. Yes, because Angel and Atlantis Jr. are more established. And I'm really, again, Shelhua has had a really fun second half of the year. Again, his match against Lee Moriarty at Death Before Dishonor for the Pure Championship was hella fun. And again, Utani is amazing. We love him. So yeah, the right side of the bracket was very, very fun and very interesting. I was just like, oh wow, I'm excited. This is kind of crazy. I was a little sad to see Titan lose in the first round, but hey, you know what? Someone has to lose, and it was just Titan's time in this one. But I'm really excited, and I'm really happy for the final two. I think this is going to be a fun match this Friday. So yeah. I kind of got that notion, Primo. This tourney is supposed to be vet rookie, but CMLL is so stacked it's been a little warped the past couple of years. You're not kidding. When we get into the preview for this Friday, I was just like, there are so many people on one little poster that I have to zoom in to read everything. It's ridiculous. So,
real quick, I'm kind of piggybacking on that. One of the things I've noticed is that a rookie doesn't stay a rookie in Lucha very long.
No.
It's like, oh, hey, you're new. Oh, wow. Oh, okay. Yeah.
All right,
you've been here forever.
There's so many people, especially in CMLL. There are so many people, and because there's 3 rotating shows with everyone just popping up everywhere, you're just like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. I mean, we're just right now we're only used to talking about the Friday shows, because let's be real, I want to watch all the other shows, but like there's like, I don't want to say there's no time, because Primo finds time to watch all the Lucha things, but I also watch everything because I cover everything for this channel. So it's crazy. Oh, that is also very true. Coming in, that's because they start when they're like 10, 11 years old in Lucha Libre, which is very true. It is literally be like, hey, you just turned 10. All right, get in this ring. So they literally are babies when they start training for this. But again, looking forward to Friday's finals. This is going to be a lot of fun. I just want this picture to set in real quick. Guys, I'm sad that our boyfriend did not win, but what a hell of a match. I'm sad that Novio did not win, but it is Místico. I was just like, duh, Místico is definitely going to win. But hot damn, what a match, man. What a main event. Holy crap. There's not, I can't. I'm just like doing that arm motion. I'm just like, okay, let me set this up, right? Because I do have to do some talking here because we are the host. We can't just like use onomatopoeias here. So, por el Campeonato Mundial de Peso Semi-Completo CMLL, or for the CMLL, middleweight championship, whatever you want to call it, Místico, the champion, defending the title against the challenger, and Soberano Jr. No, 100%. And this is perfectly sums it up. Just soaking all that atmosphere. The crowd was so hot for this one. And as they should be. God, what a match, man. And I'm just sitting here. I'm just like, do I put this in my top 10, even though it's like I already kind of have my top 10? But I was just like, I was just like, I keep saying this to myself. I'm going to put a deadline for when I can put matches in for my top 10 of the year. And then I'm just like, we get this match. I was like, I might have to break that rule now. But talk about, and we kind of been saying this since we started covering CMLL from our observations, at least, mine and yours and Adolfo's. These to me are like your top face and your top, your top technical and your top rudo in this company right now. And I'm just like, God, my body was not ready, and the Lord blessed me with an amazing match. I feel like I've done enough of the talking. Papa, what did you think of our main event for this one?
This one made me hot. It was so good. I mean, it was so good. I got sucked up into it, honestly. And I thought it was a great match. I thought it pulled me in. I think the audience really kind of pulled me in more than the match itself.
Yeah. Which is kind of like what Primo is saying too, yeah.
Oh, there you go, yeah. I mean, honestly, because when I was watching it, I was like, okay, this is pretty good. I was excited because I love both of these wrestlers. And then it started happening, and the crowd just... there was a couple of moments when I was watching it that I was actually watching the crowd more than I was watching the match, just to kind of see what was happening. So, because it was the atmosphere was electric. It was so electric. and that audience was eating it up, and I got pulled in by the audience, I think, more so than the match. Even the match, I thought the match was really good, but yeah, the audience, man, I think I maybe have seen 1, 2, maybe 3 matches where the audience has gotten that into it since I've been doing this. So yeah, it was, wow. The atmosphere in that room was electrified. This probably would have been one of those that I would love to have been just sitting in the audience.
Oh, 100%. I want to be able to soak in the crowd energy, the atmosphere. Yeah, so to no one's surprise, Místico does retain the championship, but I also really love the sign of respect between Místico and Soberano Jr. after the match. And exactly my point that I was going to get into, Primo. This is a feud they can keep going whenever they want. Like, this is a fight forever type of feud. And they also sold out Puebla on Monday too, so which is really, really good to hear. Because yeah. Also, shout out to that one lady for being the 1 million ticket, recipient and got a custom championship belt for being the 1 million ticket sold. Love to see that for CMLL. CMLL has it's always been great, but it's been on and popping this year too. So I love it.
Indeed.
But that is how Viernes Espectacular goes off the air for this past Friday. This is a really fun show. I thought that was pretty solid all around. And I don't know if I'm mentally prepared though, because this Friday, listen, I will call myself a mark because I love the American wrestlers that are participating in this Friday show. But let's get into it. So if you thought this week was a lot of people on one card, then you were mistaken, because this week has a lot of people on the card. So kicking things off, we have a Torneo Cibernetico Rumbo a Sin Salida 2026. So these are all the people, if I remember my Spanish correctly from high school, these are all the people participating in that cage match coming up in the new year where somebody is losing a mask. But we're going to have a Torneo Cibernetico Rumbo. So this is going to include Rey Cometa, Calavera Jr. Uno, Electrico, Virus, Oro Jr., Polvora, Blue Shark, Robin, Espíritu Negro, Calavera Jr. 2, Astral, Concebrero, Diamond, El Coyote, El Vigía, and Sangre Imperial. This is going to be crazy. Coming in with the fact checking. Give or take the average about 6,500 to 7K a show at Arena Mexico this year. That's not counting the other arenas that have also had multiple sellouts. Very true. CMLL is literally having their best year ever. Like ever. Insane. And we love to see that because it also keeps us in business because we get to review it. But yeah, that's a lot of people in this Torneo Cibernetico for Friday. I was like, that's a lot of bodies in this ring. And then it just gets crazier because then after that, we're getting the Final de Torneo Gran Alternativa 2025. So the finals, Atlantis Jr. and Shelhua versus Angel de Oro and Utani. So that should be a pretty fun match. Then we get into the dream crazy ass matches. So unfortunately, Neon is still not medically cleared to compete, but stepping up to the plate, and I'm just as equally excited for this one. In a mano-a-mano, Mexico versus Estados Unidos, CMLL versus AEW, Soberano Jr. is stepping up for Neon to take on Kevin Knight. And I'm just like, ah! But then it gets crazier because then in the semi-main event for the Campeonato Mundial Histórico de Peso Welter, so this is for championship, champion, Máscara Dorada, challenger, Speedball, Mike Bailey. I was just like, I mean, I didn't want to say it out loud, but you're kind of right, Primo. I love Neon, but I mean, Novio is up in this building, and he's going to fight Kevin Knight. It's definitely more fresh, and it's different. And honestly, if that means we get to see more Soberano Jr. and to kind of see what could have been this year for him, I'm here for it. But yeah, Speedball Mike Bailey challenging Máscara Dorada. I am But then in the main event, it gets crazier. Por el Campeonato Mundial de Peso Completo, CMLL. So the CMLL Heavyweight Championship champion, Claudio Castagnoli from AEW, taking on the Defender and hitting people with his clothing, Ultimo Guerrero. I was just like, Here's the thing. I'm excited. I'm just bummed we don't get to review this show. I was just like, no, why are we going on break? But no, yeah. That's the other thing I'm looking forward to. All the Soberano appearances. This man is gonna give us outfits. That's the one thing I love about Soberano Jr. I was just like, him and Chelsea Green always come out in a new outfit every single time. And I'm like, all right, Soberano Jr., what Paul Gaultier, Ralph Lauren, like crazy fashion closet you gonna raid for this Friday? It's gonna be crazy. I'm really looking forward to this card on Friday. I think it's gonna be a really, really fun one as we head into the new year. But that ends our review of CMLL for the past Friday. And unfortunately, guys and gals and non-binary pals of the internet, this is the final review for 2025 for us here at Los Lobos de la Lucha. I know, it's crazy. This is like, how dare you not review for 2 weeks? Listen, here's why. It's mostly because I need the 2 weeks to spend over the holidays because I want to spend time with my family, but it also allows me a time to reset. And for all of us here at BC WrestlePod to reset and relax with our families over the next 2 weeks. So that way we can kick off 2026 in crazy style. But just because this is the final CMLL review of 2025 doesn't mean that... I know, don't give me those emojis, Primo. I understand. And honestly, if it were up to me, we would be reviewing the next 2 weeks. But at the same time, though, I say, initially I said, you know what? I want to give my hosts some time off with their families and the R&R. But to be completely honest, I am the one in most need of the R&R. Not because I'm like running ragged, but it's been a lot the last couple of months with how much changes that we've gone through here at BC WrestlePod. But thankfully, I have an amazing crew like Adolfo and Papa Oso here, and as well as our other, hosts that carry me through all of this. But I'm gonna take a nice, long, deserved 2 weeks off because I need time to rest and recuperate, and then get things ready for 2026 because we coming back in style, y'all. But we still have a chaotic week this week. On Friday, we have our TNA review, the final TNA review of 2025. And then on Sunday, if Primo, you have an open invitation to just come watch the chaos on Sunday if you are around at 6 p.m. Pacific. It is the BC WrestlePod end of year podcast where we talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly of professional wrestling. And I am excited for it because it is not just the BC WrestlePod family, but we are also opening the door to our 2 new podcasting channel friends, Nick and Nikki over at the Nick Wrestling Happy Hour podcast, and Sean and Matt of the If We Had the Pencil podcast. And all 3 podcasting groups will be colliding to truly have, our own torneo cybernetico of, good, the bad, and the ugly of professional wrestling in 2025. So I'm excited. And yeah, that's it for us here. So of course, me and Papa are going to get up on out of here. And you too, Primo. You enjoy your holiday and looking forward to seeing you next year as well. So we'll be back in 3 weeks. So it's not really that far off. But enjoy your holidays too, Primo. And honestly, thank you for being our unofficial co-host. You are the man with the plan, Stan. You have a very wealthy knowledge of Lucha Libre. And honestly, you have become a really good friend to the channel for us. Thank you for always supporting us every Wednesday. And so thank you for being here. But me and Papa got to get up on out of here. So from all of us here at BC WrestlePod, as we always do here, remember, take care of yourself, love one another, stay iconic. More importantly than anything, you always deserve to finish your story. Have a very happy holidays with your family, whether they be blood related or found. And until next year, remember, we love you. But until then, sayonara, adios, and as always, peace